Fala galera, bem-vindos a mais um vídeo deste canal. Eu me chamo Gabriel e calma que eu não tô maluco, eu sei que eu já trouxe a evolução do Godzilla ainda nos primórdios do canal.
Ah, bom.
Só que daquela vez eu trouxe a evolução de vários personagens em um único vídeo, porque eu não tava pretendendo que isso se tornasse um quadro regular aqui no canal. Mas o vídeo fez tanto sucesso, com muita gente pedindo continuações, então meses depois é que veio a evolução do Coringa.
Ah, agora eu entendi! Agora eu saquei!
Mas enfim, eu tô refazendo a evolução do Godzilla, porque ele que tava com o áudio mais esquisito, né? Hoje em dia eu faço diferente, eu não faço mais captura de tela, e eu aprendi a separar os áudios, né? Eu gravo meu áudio separado do vídeo.
Aí sim.
Então é isso, eu espero que vocês gostem dessa versão, podemos dizer, remaster daquele vídeo. E se vocês gostaram, por favor, deixa pra mim nos comentários se vocês querem que eu traga a evolução de outros personagens que estavam naquele vídeo, beleza? Sem mais enrolações, roda a vinheta! Nossa, já faz tanto tempo que eu vi esse vídeo que é como se eu estivesse vendo pela primeira vez.
Since being awoken by atomic bombs, Godzilla has lit up the silver screen. But his looks seem to be ever-changing, starting with the original. Let's go through his theatrical looks and story. Animated. In his first ever appearance, Godzilla has small arms, thick legs, and dorsal plates down his spine. His pupils are tiny, and he has fangs and pointy ears. After attacking Japan, he gets disintegrated to bone. A new Gigantus, Godzilla, appears in Godzilla Raids Again. This monster is thinner, with longer arms, a smaller head, and larger pupils. When in close-ups, his teeth appear to be jutting out. Sadly, he's buried in ice. But then King Kong vs. Godzilla, he busts free. He's now in color, is more plump, toeless, and has a lizard-like head with yellow eyes, no ears, and no fangs. He faces off against a giant ape, tumbling into the ocean, only to be washed ashore in Mothra vs. Godzilla. Now he's slimmer, has a wider head, wide eyes, and smooth, shiny brows. As his rampage continues, he gets covered in silk and again drops into the sea. But in Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, he's back, now with a slimmer face and longer tongue. From this film on in the original series, Godzilla now defends humanity from more evil monsters. In Invasion of Astro-Monster, Godzilla is thinner, his dorsal plates have more definition, his claws are dull, and his head is rounder. He shows off his new dance moves before briefly being under alien mind control. Ebirah, Horror of the Deep, gives Godzilla less angry brows. He battles against a big lobster, and narrowly escapes an exploding island. In the sequel, Godzilla's neck is elongated. He's pudgier, and his dorsal fins are flimsy looking. His nose is also stubbier, and his eyes are bugged out. Oh, and he's now raising a hideous son. In Destroy All Monsters, he's slimmer, while his face appears more like it did in Astro-Monster. He's put under alien mind control.
Cara, não é brincadeira não, os filmes do Godzilla apanham pra cacete.
For the next three
Esse roteiro é brincadeira.
Remains consistent. In the first, he helps his son face off against a bully. However, this all takes place inside the dreams of a young boy.
Era o sonho de garoto, nossa senhora, cara.
Next, in Godzilla vs. Hedorah, he opposes a pollution monster, and when curled up like a shrimp, he can now fly backwards. In Godzilla vs. Gigan,
Acho que eu nunca vi uma saga com tantos filmes ruins.
Speak, while his suit, skin, starts ripping during his triumphant battle. He appears slimmer in Godzilla vs. Megalon, with a shorter neck, soft bright dorsal fins, and a round pig-nosed face. He boasts a long-distance dropkick, but this movie is mostly about a size-changing robot, so let's keep going. In the next two films, Godzilla has an angrier expression and more detailed muzzle. He uses a magnetic upgrade to protect an ancient god from MechaGodzilla. And in the sequel, faces him once more. But this timeline's Godzilla is sent to retirement. And 9 years later, a reboot Godzilla appears. This one's taller, has larger dorsal fins,
Ele tá mais gordinho.
and his fangs and ears make a return. Although his reign is short-lived as he trips into a volcano, only to explode out in the sequel. He has a smaller head, a more muscular build, larger outer fins, and a cat-like face with a secondary row of teeth. He takes on a giant plant monster, who gets turned into glitter. In Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, his original form, the Godzillasaurus, is taken out of the 1940s and exposed to modern-day radiation, turning him into a taller, muscular, and angrier-looking Godzilla. He fights Mecha King Ghidorah, and then gets dumped into the ocean. In Godzilla vs. Mothra, he's thinner, his dorsal plates are rearranged, and his neck is more ribbed. His head is flatter, and he has golden eyes. He battles against Mothra and Batra, and once again is plunged into the ocean and locked in by Mothra's magical powers. But somehow, in Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla II, he's back. He has slimmed down shoulders and
Adoro a continuação desses filmes, cara. Eles não fazem o menor sentido, eles não se
This
conectam.
time he's defeated when his butt brain is destroyed, but he's easily revitalized just moments later. Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla features the bulkier original with less
olha
detailing
o
in the
tamanho do
neck and
Godzilla.
eyes. Godzilla Jr.
Não sei nem como é que ele consegue andar, cara.
chubbier with a greener color scheme, and a large flying blue crystallized Space Godzilla. Ooh, he gets obliterated. In this timeline's final film, Godzilla is glowing orange, and his son now looks more like a hunched version of his father. When the original Big G has a meltdown, his son absorbs the radiation and turns into the new Godzilla ready for action. But the series would be continually rebooted, dropping him altogether. The first American Godzilla
Eu lembro que eu vi esse filme no cinema. Pô, eu gostava, cara.
blue dorsal spines and a hanging dewlap. This Godzilla also has hundreds of tiny
Dia você vê, é ridículo, mas
This
na
happy
época eu achei bem
family was
legal.
easily taken out by basic explosives. Back in Japan, in Godzilla 2000, he appears shorter, with green jagged skin, sharp purple spines, and a reptilian-looking face. While he's nearly swallowed whole, he's good to go for the next reboot, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, in which he's lighter,
Nunca vi Godzilla 2
longer
mesmo.
neck, and smaller mouth. He defeats a giant flying insect and is then sent into a black hole. In Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, Godzilla is formed by the ghosts of vengeful World War II victims. He has smooth charcoal-colored skin, white dorsal fins, and a hunched neck. His face is less lizard-like, with pure white eyes and no ears. But this Godzilla is mutilated by a drill missile, leaving only his beating heart behind. The following reboot, Godzilla against MechaGodzilla, re-adds the jagged design elements and introduces a more wolf-like face.
Visual tá maneiro.
In the climax, he's blasted by a beam, adding a visible scar to his chest for the sequel, Tokyo S.O.S, in which he's covered in silk and again flown into the bottom of the sea. Godzilla Final Wars features a taller, smoother, and more slender Godzilla, with longer ears and red eyes. This Godzilla fights against a multitude of creatures, including an upright standing 98-Zilla. Then he and his hideous son head back to the ocean. In Shin Godzilla, he's first shown as a light-colored and armless creature, but quickly evolves, growing tiny arms and
Dizem que o Shin Godzilla é um dos melhores filmes do Godzilla.
His massive main form is darker with a much longer tail that has a little face on the end. His jaw can unhinge and split apart, and he has a variety of handy new skills. He can also apparently reproduce human hybrids from his tail tip, but he's given a freezing agent, ceasing his evolution. The anime trilogy depicts a muscular, rounded Godzilla with a tree
Eu vi esse
bark-like
filme
texture.
depois.
19,000 years
Na época que eu fiz a
later,
primeira
he
versão eu não tinha
sports
visto.
beard-like spines
Aí
and
depois eu vi.
grows
Nossa senhora, como é ruim, cara.
easily allowing him to become the ruler of Earth. Meanwhile, back in 2014,
Uma animação em 3 partes, nossa senhora, mas é muito
This
ridículo.
Titan has jagged dorsal plates, wide elephant-like feet, and noticeable gills. He comes out of hiding to stop two hideous star-crossed lovers. In Godzilla, King of the Monsters, he's taller and beefier. His lower half looks less stubby, his tail tip is more blunt, and his dorsal fins are less sharp.
Eu gosto mais do segundo do que do primeiro.
Later, he's given extra radiation, and after ashes rain down on him, he gets a fiery new look and power upgrade, helping him to retain his kingly crown.
Bom, então é isso, né, galera? Na época que foi lançado esse vídeo ainda não tinha sido lançado o filme Godzilla vs Kong. Mas eu espero que vocês tenham gostado. Se gostaram, por favor, deixa um like no canal. Se inscreva aqui embaixo caso você ainda não seja inscrito. E deixa pra mim nos comentários, vocês gostaram dessa nova versão? Vocês querem que eu traga de outros personagens? Dá uma olhada na playlist com a evolução de outros personagens que eu já trouxe aqui pro canal. Então é isso. Um grande abraço pra todos e fui!